I'm all right.
Hello.
All right.
No decisions were made. We made a commitment to you last year about giving you a raise in April. So I think we need to go ahead and do that at this time. Would you gentlemen consider a 5% raise for Amanda?
Is that a motion?
I'll make the motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
And that is for April.
That'll be for April.
Yep, thanks, man.
Do you need a motion on the wage agreement I typed up for you, or do they need to make a motion? on
They
that?
already approved that.
They,
For Ann?
yes.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good, are you?
Oh, they did make a motion. There was a motion.
Okay.
Thank you.
I would put it in. Let's do it in.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Okay, what we figured out is, this is what it turned in as the front page.
Okay.
This is what we got in the end result that got published, I believe. Shows that the 23.5 went down to revenue. The bottom line is we basically got 82,000 for the year, is that correct?
It looks like.
And we did put the grant money into the courthouse general. I recall that.
So that grant money went to, so when he needs his grant money, we can pay it out, we
We can
just
pay
need
it
to
out
do
of
a
courthouse
transfer?
general.
Out of
That's where we put it.
Okay,
Yeah. That's why courthouse general was increased slightly this year,
Okay.
is we put several grants in there.
So am I understanding this, even though this number doesn't say this, it should be an additional 23.5 in there that is, but it is a different fund?
Just subject
That
to
is
transfer.
correct. Yeah.
Okay, so you've got that money, but it just doesn't show up
I
there.
just don't have nothing in capital outlay, because that's where I put it here.
Is that where you want it moved to capital outlay?
Well, the only problem I see with it being in the general fund is if it gets coded as fire, it will put me over budget until the transfer.
until the transfer is made. If we expense it and then get it transferred, you'll be all right.
Is that what you would like to have done?
Yeah, if we could, yeah, but if we can't do it.
I don't
But I
think
don't
I'm
think
following.
we
Are
can.
you saying transfer all the grant money out of general into capital
Can
outlay?
we do that for him?
I don't
I don't
think
think
you
you
can.
Okay.
I mean, we can expense items and then we can transfer money from general into his budget to cover those items. But if there isn't anything in total capital outlay, I don't think we can transfer the grant money from
Okay.
general courthouse into his capital outlay. Does that make sense?
can. And it's a different fund.
Right.
Yeah.
On my calculator.
So, I mean, essentially what would happen is as he has expenses and purchases that are fall under the grant money, he would then ask for that amount to be transferred out of general courthouse to his account to
For that.
cover those grant expenses. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
What are you getting?
Nothing yet.
So all we need is the adjustment form that we used last year to pull the money. If you want to pull it out of courthouse general and put it into his, we could do it that way too, couldn't we?
Are you suggesting to take all the grant money at once and just transfer it into his budget? Just generally? Is that what,
We could,
you could do that?
yeah.
Okay, well, there was a discussion about transferring that money into capital outlay, which I don't believe you can do.
That's a different.
The capital outlay is in his
It's
budget.
in my fund.
Yeah, but I think you can transfer from general courthouse. I mean, if we want to look into this a little further, I thought the reason we had put the grant money into general courthouse was,
We didn't have a place to put grant money last summer when we were building the budget for this year.
okay,
Since that time, in looking back at 2014, I have observed that they did put a grant column, if you will, under the other category, and they put money in there, but that was to be used throughout the budget.
are you saying there's a grant category in general courthouse, or?
No,
Okay,
I'd like to see if Dolores can explain those grant
in
transfers.
2014,
yes,
Can I ask her?
yes,
to
that
come
would be
in?
super helpful.
see, here's 2014,
But I don't want you to be in red discrepancy.
and I didn't know this at the time we were working on this year's budget. I thought it was under other. Well,
Last year.
it might have been before then. I was looking back through some old records.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
The board has a question on when grant monies, such as the fire department, that money is currently sitting in the general fund, so when the department needs to spend that money, what you need to do to cover that expense, so his budget, he doesn't want his budget to be over.
Okay. This is how it's worked in the past. When auditors come, I would like all of us to sit down with the auditors and get this, how they would like to have it done. This is how our past auditor had us do it. So when the grant money comes in, we put it into the county general under a grant line.
Right.
And we earmark it for what department is getting the money. So then when the bill comes in, the whole bill should be paid out of grants per that department. And then if there's like a cost share or something that the county was supposed to pay, a certain amount, that amount needs to be transferred from their budget into the grant fund line. That way when the auditor's doing the audit of grants, they can see the money coming in, they can see the money was all spent out, and that the grant, when they read the grant and say the county was supposed to pay 10%, they can see that we did that. That whole amount coming out and the transfer going in.
So there's no red showing up on the account, because what's going to happen is when those bills come in that are grant eligible, they get submitted directly to you, and then if there's cost sharing, that money comes out of fire budget into the grant, so it all gets paid out at the same time.
Well,
Kinda.
yeah, we struggle with that.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't seem to work always that way, but that's how it should be working. The way that our auditor would want it to work. And I have visited with our auditors, told them what we were doing for our past auditor, and they said that worked for them. But I've been visiting with Rodney a few times about some different things that, and other counties on how they handle grant money, and I would really like to revisit that with our auditors, because I would like a little better opinion on what maybe they would suggest. So right now, that's kind of how we did though.
Okay, let's go back to your question. Was the 23,000 that you wanted, was that for the county share of grants that you were anticipating getting this year?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm not real smart on, but this is the first time I've ever had to turn in a budget.
Yeah.
So we turn this in. Basically, I was told as long as it gets in the budget, it can be moved around where it needs to from there. Well, so I just assumed, I guess, that in the end I'd have this 105,500, and if we needed to spend it elsewhere, say we didn't get a grant, but we had the money there for something else, we could use it for that. Is that wrong? I mean, if I would put it all in my capital outlay, you could have transferred it from there to grants if we, or is that not right?
The grant money is totally separate, and that's why I was concerned about transferring the grant money around, because there are reporting requirements,
Right.
which is why we need to keep that money separately so we can account for that money being spent
Right.
that is actually eligible for the grant. I mean, I think in looking at this, it looks to me like there was a mistake in that this 23.5 was actually a request to go into total capital outlay, right?
Yeah.
And
But we had it down, I know I had grants wrote down there just because I didn't know. You know,
and there was nothing.
so now, basically the way I'm set up now, I have nothing in capital outlay.
Correct. And we can't, I mean, I'm even further convinced now after the doors came in, we can't transfer money out of grants just into capital outlay.
Okay. We're all Danny.
But it's an option, I think, that you can make a decision to move, if he's got too much money somewhere else, to move it from that fund line to a capital outlay.
Right, but that's not what we're talking about.
Okay,
Yeah.
Are you done with me?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
No. That's, I think it's helpful to say that, but yeah, if we were talking about too much money elsewhere moving into capital outlay, but what we got is not enough money and nothing in
Right.
capital outlay, right?
Right. So when I propose the next budget, I need to put grants separate from capital outlay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Only consider the county portion of what you have to pay for that grant if you're gonna get a grant.
Okay.
Is that, am I not, I'm getting in the end of this conversation, so am I
No, you're
following
being
it
super
okay?
helpful. Yeah.
Following it.
Because, I mean, you're telling us what money we need to expect to be spending on your department. So for grants, you would put what our cost share of the grant would be, because you're not telling us how much money you're going to spend, but how much money we're going to spend. So if you're anticipating grants, you kind of, I mean, you might go on the high end of what the cost share is, and that way, if you don't get all those, we've still budgeted for the ability to cover our cost of the grants.
Good.
Right?
Right.
Okay.
But it doesn't solve your problem on the capital outlay.
Yeah.
Is there grant money available for the fire department?
It's coming.
Okay.
It hasn't come yet, but yeah, it's been approved and it's coming.
Okay.
Well, wait a minute. I'm thinking of the wrong.
I don't think we've done anything yet that I've heard of. Unless you know something I don't. Maybe it's possible. We applied for one grant, but I haven't heard that we got it.
Do you know how much it would have been for, or what it was for?
It was for some bunker gear.
Okay. I will check into that and let you know for sure.
requested it. Carol usually tells me if we got it or didn't get it. I have to read it personally.
You know, with grant writers, we have a lot of grant activity now. We have time trouble keeping it all straight.
Yeah.
Which is nice. I mean, it's a big help to the county.
Did it answer your question?
Well, yeah.
Not in a good way, but
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Lois.
Oh, one more thing. When, and I don't know when the good timing for it would be, but the transfer that needs to come from the budget to reimburse the grants, when you guys maybe approve the grant and know what the percentage is or what the amount is, if you could write up a transfer form and sign it so that I have something to put with my transfer for documentation and that you are aware of it.
Okay.
That would be a wonderful policy to do.
So the auditors can see
Right,
that we have reviewed it and approved the transfer.
and that way I know, I'm very clear on what amount and where it's supposed to be
Sure.
from. Okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We can ask the auditors on whether or not we just pull money out of capital outlay or out of the courthouse and transfer it over to it.
Sure, absolutely.
I think we can do that,
You
but
can't
I
do that.
don't
You're-
want to do that.
You're
until
talking general courthouse,
the general
not
courthouse, because that's where we pigeonholed a bunch of money, because we didn't know how to.
but you're not talking out of the grant fund line item.
No,
Okay,
no,
yeah.
no,
You can do that.
yeah.
Well, like you said, clear the money, so. Another thing I have is, as you guys know, we sent 4 guys down to the Anderson Creek Fire. And the public was really great on that. They donated a bunch of food, a bunch of water, all that stuff. My opinion is, it's up to you guys what you do. My guys didn't take any pay for that, the 2 guys I sent down. I don't know what Bird City did. They volunteered their time, most of them volunteered their fuel, because we had one guy take personal pickup. And he said he wasn't gonna get paid for his fuel. So it's a little bit of fuel in the fire truck, but my personal opinion is if we get any kind of reimbursement, I'd say we send it back to them and tell them to use it. That's just my opinion. You guys are the
Yeah.
board, so I don't know that we're gonna
I
get
think
anything or
so.
not, but that's something to think about.
I agree. Well, what do you? Yeah.
I think they should be paid, but that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Just let me know. That's all I
Appreciate
got.
I have a question for Dan right here. On the new Airpool CAD system, we've got the links that go straight, you can move information straight to Firehouse for your guys' Kaifer reports. Now that link is, the startup cost of that link to get installed and stuff is, I don't want to say the exact number, but I'm going to round it around, say $1,500. Now, what I've been thinking is I've been trying to make a schedule for the commissioners of where each bit of money comes from, which fund to pay for the new CAD system. Do you think that's something that should be approached that comes out of fire budget? Or do you have the money in the budget for it? Or do you think we should take some out of fire budget and we should approach each city as well? Because the city fire departments will also be using it for their run forms as well. And ask each city for like $250, a piece, that's $500 together. And the county does it 1,000, because that's my looking at runs. About 2/3 of runs are county runs, and a third or less is city runs. So I just asking your opinion. What do you think is fair? As I'm trying to put all the money where it comes from to go pay for this stuff. Fire share, like I said, $1,500.
So I think we asked both.
So you put in $250 in the budget.
Do
You're
I
fine
have a
with it?
budget right now? I don't know, but we'll figure it out.
We'll work on the county side, we'll figure that out, but do you think it's inappropriate to, I guess another question is, do you want to approach the city and then I'll have Lauren approach the city of Bird City? Or do you want Eric and I, as running dispatch, to go get on the agenda and approach
It
them?
doesn't matter to me, I can do it, or you probably know more about it, but I can do it, I can be there if you want me.
I think that's probably the way to do it, is the three of us go together and mention it.
Okay. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
There's free claims when we get up there. Is that charging good for a kid? Is that charging good for a kid?
Take to Dodge dealer and get the chip removed.
That answers my question.
Right now, the
You're ready?
top speed is too high.
Okay. Good morning.
How's everybody today?
I think that's good.
The first thing I want to say is a big thank you to the commissioners here for allowing Starboard Insurance to participate in the scholarship program. We have already received 26 applications from the City of St. Francis seniors, and we've already received 2 from the Bird City. So we're going to do $1,000 in scholarships. So we really appreciate you guys allowing us to do that. And you'll have to excuse me, I'm prepping for implant surgery, and they just did bone, and I'm talking a little funny today. Saw that Julie did have me happy. Julie's going to, So anyway, Julie's going to go over, same as always, the how you've been running your reserves. She'll go over the provider list and all the things that we normally do on your quarterly review. Believe it or not, this is your. It seems like we were just here last month, but anyway.
I always like to, come up and, of course, like Alicia said, we were, here and done a 30-day review and now the quarterly review. And the first column is what was projected on the plan design that you have and the rates that we have with the total estimated annual premium based on that count. The middle column is the actual cost through March 31st, the first quarter of the plan. So you can see you're running a 5.09% above what we projected. But we have some claims that come in that usually those people, we have individuals that meet that out-of-pocket high deductible within the first 3 months. So it's the same that we had last year, the first 3 months, and then it tapered off again. So I see it coming in and actually that coming down to a negative. But 5.09% above what we projected is not bad at all. If you bring your reserves back into it, into the actual, you're actually running 2.31%. So the 5.09 is not counting the money that you have in reserves, and the minus 2.31% is counting money in reserves. So,
Depending on which way you want to look at it, either you want to look at the whole picture, you're running 2.3% under what was projected. If you put that, as Commissioner Radcliffe asked, would we please put something in there showing the reserves and how it affects the plan.
And we did that on the next page under, this is your monthly report by month, what we've paid in medical claims and prescription claims. And you can see, the third month is usually when those claims come through, and then what you have in reserves in the bank. The next report is the dental report. Alicia and I talked about that this morning. On the dental report, up at the right-hand side, we have not changed what you were funding with your dental from when you came from corporate plan. So up at the right-hand corner is what we were showing funding for the dental claims. Down on the lower left-hand side is what you're actually running. So what you're running on the dental claims is $22.17 for single, $82.80 for family, $50.88 for employee and children, and $54.86 for employee and spouse.
if you were to go out to the market, again, something in your dental has been a positive for you. Because if you would go out to the market and buy the dental plan that you have now fully insured, where you just pay the premium and it's all throwaway money, you would be spending about $120 for a family rate and closer to about $35, $40 for a single rate. So the dental plan is running well based compared to a fully insured plan. The next report, I always just like to show the top benefits. Of course, prescription claims, we've talked about that. Prescription claims usually are in the top three, no matter what plan you look at. So you have your prescription claims, and again, it comes from the total charges over to the right-hand side, what the plan is paid. The first two is your prescription claims, and then the specialty medications, and then it goes on down to each benefit that has been paid. And so the total paid by plan is $28,262.65 for the first quarter. You can see definitely there's the dental claims. The next report is just the top providers. We look at this to, on the providers, make sure as far as in-network, out-of-network. As you can see, Cheyenne County Hospital is the top provider, so people utilize the hospital.
That's good. And I asked Julie to talk to you a bit about number 3, which is it shows Freedom Claims Management, because I don't want anyone to think that this is a charge or something from Julie's office. So go ahead, Julie, and talk about number 3.
When we process a claim, we have to have a provider that we code that to. We do have on the specialty medications that you've seen on the top benefit report, that was number 2. When we're reimbursing for that, we have to have a provider to be able to pay it, so we use our name when we pay the insured back for that specialty medication. So we do a reimbursement type thing for the specialty medication. So,
And there's been 4 claims on that, correct?
that's correct.
Okay.
Only the $3,640 is what's been reimbursed back for the specialty medications. But in our system, we have to have a provider with a TIN number. So when we don't actually have a provider to pay that back to, we've used Freedom Claims. That money has not come back to us. It's gone to reimburse for the specialty medication.
And you just write the check directly to the employer or the dependent.
And if you look over under the RX specialty drug, on the top benefit, it has the $3,640. That matches the check under Freedom Claim, so it's the same amount for that specialty medication. And put in a copy of the plan, what your benefits are to the employees, and again, working with groups all over Kansas and Nebraska and down into Oklahoma. See a lot of employer groups having to increase their out-of-pocket to the employees to kind of increase with the cost. With doing the Freedom Choice Plan, you've been able to keep that benefit for the employee. With a $1,000 deductible, the $80/20 to $1,500 with your office visit co-pays. And then again, a copy of the dental plan. So any questions on how the plan is working, questions on any of the reporting? And of course, like I said in the past, we can do about any kind of reporting you would ever want to see. So if there's something that we're not providing that you would like to see, please let us know and we can provide that to you. But the plan is working very well in the first quarter.
You guys have any questions?
No. Do you?
No? I appreciate you ladies coming down and giving us these reports.
And Brian would have been here, part of Strother Insurance, but he's in Dallas, Texas. So he also wanted to thank you for allowing us to do the scholarship. So I just wanted to
Is
mention
that $1,000 scholarship, is that for all of your
that will be
applicants?
That will be all of them, yes.
Okay. And are you doing one boy and one girl? Or
We're
is it-
trying it this year to do one boy, one girl from the city here, and one boy, one girl from Bird City. But so far, we've only had females apply from Bird City. I don't know what their graduating class size is. What we may do next year is just split the money between the two, and whoever we feel are the top two from each, whether they're 2 girls, 2 boys, whatever. But in the other high schools that Brian and I have done, we've always done a boy and a girl. Well, then it started to realize on us that sometimes there aren't quite as many.
I think Bird City last year only graduated, what, 12? It was very small.
But we've only received,
They have a class coming up that has no girls.
Oh, my goodness.
That's odd.
That's fine, that answers the
And
question.
every teacher that has them says it's the easiest class they've ever had.
that's not fair.
Oh, I'm just saying.
Maybe we'll just have to change our mind. No.
Yeah.
We'll just do it that we just do the scholarships for each one, and if it's 2 boys, 2 girls, whatever, but we just kind of formatted it. Bird City really didn't have a format for the scholarship program. So we kind of told them the bio, we need that, and we need different things, so we're working through it, getting it there. We appreciate you guys, and we appreciate being any type of part of your
Brett,
community.
had you had a concern earlier about the timing of claims being paid out?
That wasn't for, that was
Yeah,
the
okay.
United Healthcare that we run into.
Okay, just wanted to make sure if that was the case, we pick it up, so.
Is there something that I need to check with United Healthcare?
It just seems like it's pending for like 3 months,
Okay,
so.
all right, would that be on a particular person with United Healthcare or provider?
Well, like on mine, I got a bill, I got it last month, middle of last month,
Uh-huh.
from Great Plains. And it was one was from May and one was from June, totaling $1,300.
Okay,
And it was the first bill I got from them. And it said on it, if you pay it now, we'll give you all of it, you'll pay it with 15% less. But what I see, when I see these things coming in, it says insurance pending. And I think that's a United Healthcare deal.
all right, and
Because we have the same issue.
okay, and I can check on that to find out when they received it from the provider.
Right.
See, in Kansas, they have to process that claim within 30 days, a
Yeah.
claim within 30 days, or have to pay interest on that. So I will check on that for you, Commissioner Fulling, to
And
find
this,
out.
it could also be a deal with Great Plains. So I
That's
think
what
it's
I'm
a
looking-
combination of both, so.
That's what I want
It
to check
probably
on.
is, because in Smith County, that is one of my big issues with dealing with claims, is because the employees come to me and say, look, this claim was from last year, and now they're just, well, sometimes the providers aren't getting those bills out. They send it to another billing system, and then it might be 90, 120 days before that bill. We worked on one that was last year. It's past the time. It's past the 1-year time.
We're currently working with a hospital that has someone in there doing the insurance billing, and she's no longer there, so they hired someone new. And now she's going in and cleaning up, and we're getting claims 6 months old.
Really?
Yeah, to where, claims that wasn't filed, so that's why I like to check and find out when did they actually receive the claim, and,
We
Well,
will
my
check
wife,
it.
my wife doesn't get bills out sometimes 3, 4, 5 months.
and so,
The only thing was it was insurance pending for like 3 months. So I just
We'll check.
I wasn't
I
too
will.
worried about it.
definitely check into it and find out what's going on.
Do you want us to get back with you?
If you want to, that's fine. That way,
I do have
then I'll
one
educate the
question
board.
before you leave. How early do you think you could give us a ballpark figure on the increase for insurance for next year?
Just for budget purposes.
Just for budget purposes? Because of the change in the budget law this year that's pending in Topeka, the quicker we get information, the better decisions we can make.
We can get you looking at medical trend, and you do your budget in May, June?
July.
Okay.
End of July.
But
We,
see, we've got to wait on a a vote this year for crying out loud on August, what, 7th?
Nothing has been, I don't think, scheduled on Senate Bill 316. The last I
Yeah.
checked yesterday,
Yeah.
it's still just sitting there from the last conference committee that it had, so.
But we'll know at the end of the month.
Oh, well.
Yeah, and that's why I'm asking her now a ballpark figure, because we gotta start looking ahead and where we're gonna be. Because once we get into that period of time, everything's gonna bunch up. And we're gonna have to spend a lot of time to go through the budget process and sort it all out.
Yeah, we could probably add that to you. We can do medical, I mean, definitely medical trend, but renewals have been coming in under medical trends around 18 to 20%. I did get a renewal yesterday on a group that's a little bit smaller than yours, and it was 6%.
And I got one for 13.7%.
And I will be having some more renewals come out with United Healthcare here in the next 30, 60 days, so we could definitely give you a ballpark figure, you know.
But that
around
won't be
budgeting
with the
time.
Freedom Claims Choice. So if you're looking at that and you get those numbers and you think, well, maybe we better bid this out because the numbers look this way. Once Julie does her magic on what the Freedom Claims, we're just going to give you what we think the trend will be for that insurance portion of it.
The umbrella
The
part, the
umbrella
United
portion. I
Healthcare.
want to make sure that that's very clear.
So a lot of times with the Freedom Choice Plan, say if there is a 10% increase, you know, with United Healthcare, by the time you figure in reserves, and that could bring that 10% down to a 4% or a 5%, because you're figuring now your reserves and the plan on top of it. So you're only getting the increase on the United Healthcare numbers. So by the time you figure in the other components of the Freedom
Which,
Choice Plan.
worst case scenario, that's what we want, right?
Yeah.
Budget.
Yeah, so that we can give you a guesstimated guess. Sure can. All right,
Thank you.
all right, thanks. We'll get some rain, but no bad weather. Thank you.
I'm not doing it. Fourth grade class.
We want to use it about it real quick. She's gonna call Bill and try to get her up here.
I walked in there. I told the teachers, it's just the boys' team.